Hello, 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 and welcome to Peyton's Flowers. First of all, thank you guys so much for tuning into our videos. A couple of weeks ago, I did a gravestone saddle, and I had so many remarks and so many requests to see yet another different style. So that's what we're going to do again today, is a gravestone saddle. Again, we're going to start with our wire base. And a brick of Sahara. And our Sahara should be about the same distance as the legs on the saddle. The first step is to cover the outside of the Sahara with wreath wrap. This is wreath wrap. It comes on a roll like this. It's kind of like green saran wrap. So it has a stretch to it, and then it holds itself in place. So we're going to go around the four ends of the Sahara. And we're just going to pull it taut, just like you would saran wrap. Just like that. Cut that. That's going to go there. And now we're just going to go around and around and around, attaching the Sahara brick to the stand. So then we'll be left with one solid piece that's nice and secure for weather. I'm sure everybody's weather is different, but here in Newfoundland where we live, there's always so much wind. And for some reason, cemeteries seem to be on hills. So it's even windier up there. So we do have the problem of things blowing apart and blowing off of the headstones. So we always take every extra precaution to make sure that it is secure from the weather as possible. So that is another reason we use this wreath wrap. So using this wreath wrap is going to seal this Sahara, because this is a dry foam, and unlike a wet foam, when a dry foam gets wet, it tends to disintegrate. So we use the wreath wrap to protect it from the weather. So I just cut that right there, and I'm just going to use a floral pin and cut that right there for security. You don't even really need to do that because there's going to be stems through it, but I always use it just for that extra security. And now, safe, secure, solid, one piece. There we go. Today, we're going to use sunflowers and some reds and some orange and give that beautiful summer bright fiery feeling. Any floral piece that we do, we always start by basing. When I do wreaths, I do the same thing. I start by greening the base. So today we're going to use basic solid green ficus leaves, and we're going to cut them up. And I did get a comment on one of my past videos saying thank you for showing us how to cut things, so I'm going to go through that again. So let me get a different one. So this is one straight from the wholesaler. So this is how it comes, and it has these bends in these two arms. So we're going to straighten those out. That one and this one. And then we're going to cut that entire branch. And we're going to cut this entire branch. And then we have one big branch left. So I don't need it to be that long. So I'm going to cut right in here, right where that nodule is, right where that natural join of the greenery is, and then right here. So then you got four pieces, and then I'm going to take my second and third and fourth one, and we don't need this whole branch to be this long. We might need one or two to be that long, but we don't need a lot of them to be that long. So I'm going to, again, cut right above that leaf so it looks like a natural cut, and there we go again. Okay, so we're going to start with our two longer branches. These were the first two sides that I cut off that I didn't cut in half. I'm going to dip that in my foam, and these will be my two ends. And we're going to put it in the end and point it up so that the greenery is pointed on a downward slope and your stem is pointed upwards. You don't need to fill all the way down to the bottom here. I find when you do that, you kind of get a step approach. If you follow the shape of the foam, then your flowers are going to have that square boxy feeling too. So we're going to avoid that boxy feeling, and we're going to just insert on an upward angle, just like that. So we're going to make this actually a bigger than usual one today. So now that I have those two ends in, I'm just going to skirt the entire thing in that same direction, pointing the stems upward and the greenery downward. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe our channel. It's helping grow and get this fun content out to many more people. We have followers now in Indonesia and China and the UK, lots of Americans, and of course right here in Canada as well. So that's a lot of fun. Now I'm doing that second layer, so I'm kind of doing that same thing, everything on an angle, but now we're pointing up instead of down, and all of our stems are shorter now, because this will be just our base filler. So this will be in between the flowers. Everybody enjoying their early spring, everybody getting ready for their gardens. We can't wait. We are so excited to bring you all of the things that's happening on our little farm at home. All right, I just have one last branch cut up here. We're going to fill that in. All right, we're going to start with some gladiolas. Gladiolas are always a favorite of mine in gravestone saddles. They do add that. It's a line flower, so it does add that length to your ends. And we're going to use the entire gladiola on both ends. So I'm just snipping before the leaves. The leaves are a little bit too long, but we probably will use them throughout. And then I have two more, and I'm going to cut these a little shorter, and I'm going to leave two flowers on the branch, so then I have a shorter one and a little nub. And the same thing with the fourth one. All right, so this long one, now we are just going to do that exact same thing as we did with our first piece of greenery. So we're going in the end, and we're going to go upwards. Just like that. And then the same thing on the other side. And there we go. Now you can see it coming together already. And as I said earlier, this is going to be an extra large one, which we do have requests for quite often. Now, we have our four main pieces. Set your length, set your width. Basic rule in floral design, no matter what kind of piece you're doing, set your length and set your width. So that is what we've done. Now we're not going to go out past these two ends, and we're not going to go past these two side pieces. So that will be our length and our width set for us. So now these two little flowers that I left on both pieces, I'm going to snip those off as well. And I'm just going to use those in our top, and just right here and right here. And that's just adding some color and some height. I want to use some sunflowers in this arrangement, not too many, because I don't want it to be all sunflowers. I just want a touch of sunflowers. So I believe I have 3. So this largest one, I think we'll put right in the center. Beautiful sunflowers. Just gonna go right in the center, not too far down. And we'll put one on each end. So you can see that dome shape that I'm creating there. See that? Nothing. This is, if you were drawing a curved line, nothing is sticking up past where it should be. All right, I think we will start with a little bit of orange. Some beautiful bright orange. These are spider mums. Look at that. Beauty. So I have 4 or 5 of these. So in this type of arrangement, it's a very symmetrical arrangement. So what goes in the left goes in the right. What goes in the right goes in the left, and what goes in the front goes in the back. So that's why I cut all 4 of those at the same length, so that we're going to choose these 4 spots here to put those in, and they all need to be at the same length. Again, make sure that dome, nothing is sticking out further than anything else. At this point, we are still kind of setting our perimeters and how far out we are going. There we go. So at this point, you can see it's very symmetrical and it's kind of polka dot-ish, but we're going to take away from that look with all of the other smaller elements that we're going to add. This is a beautiful flower we have here. It's almost like an amaryllis bloom. I don't really know the name of it. I would think that it's an amaryllis. However, they came in all sorts of colors, in yellow and pinks and purples and all of different colors that amaryllis doesn't really come in. So either the designer took the liberty to just create some flowers that don't really exist in nature, or it's something that I just don't know the name of, one or the other. It could also be a hibiscus, maybe. Hibiscus has that same sort of bloom. Ooh, look at that. That red just pops. We're going to continue with some red and use some beautiful red roses. Beautiful red roses. So I'm going to put the red rose right here. So this stem needs to be a little bit longer than what I have been doing. I'm just going to do one first and make sure I get that right length before I go any further. Yeah, that's too long. We try to use the best quality silk flowers that we can find here. And for example, these roses are such good quality that they even have plastic thorns on them.
There we go. Now I can cut the other 3 at that length. Trim off those plastic thorns.
And again, what goes in the left goes in the right, what goes in the front goes in the back. So that's going in the same place in the back, and the same thing over here, and then onto our front. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, maybe, I always glue everything that I do. We always want the best quality product for our money, so anything that's crafted like this, anything that's sitting in foam, it's always better to glue. It's going to hold up longer, be stronger, and last longer than if it wasn't glued. So it is an extra step, but I always glue everything. And we're just using a glue skillet. You can see that there. It's just a regular kitchen skillet, mini kitchen skillet, but it works fantastic, and we just dip our stems in and use the glue that way. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon to this. I wasn't sure about the color. What do you think, lime green or emerald green? I don't know, I can't decide. I think we'll go with the emerald green because we don't want it to pop too much. We just want that little bit of extra there. So I'm just going to put this to the side so you can see this bow. All right, we're just going to make a basic bow, and we want the bow to be sunk right into the grave saddle. So we are going to do about a 5-inch loop, and I'm going to do 4 of those, and we'll probably do 2 bows in this saddle. So 1, 2, making all of our loops the same length. 3, 4. With a little bit of a tail. And there you have it. Simple, simple bow. It's not going to be about the bow, this piece. It's just going to add that extra texture into the middle. So I'm just going to tie this, and then I'm going to add it to a florist wood pick. So I'm going to add the wood pick on there, and then I'm going to take all 3 pieces of wire, the 2 that are attached to the bow and the 1 that is attached to the wood, and just attach that like that. And that will stay on there as long as it doesn't get a really good yank. It'll stay on there, and it's going to be embedded into the flowers, so it's going to have extra security. So we're just going to quickly do that exact same thing again. Okay, I think these florist picks are a little bit too long. We don't want that to poke out the bottom of the Sahara. So I'm going to cut those a little bit, just an inch or an inch and a half off of there. And again, we're going to dip that in our glue before we insert it. So I'm going to do the one on my side first, so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to sink that right in as deep as possible. So there you have it. So now you can tell what I mean by the bow is not going to be the star of the show here like it would be on a wreath. It's just adding that different texture. So now I will try and do the one on your side so you can see. So we put it over here on this one. We're going to go over here on the front. And we're just sinking all the way in, just like that. Nice. It's just that extra little bit of green, and you could use a corresponding color. You could use red or orange or yellow. Because we're doing it for sale here at the flower shop, we just wanted it to be as generic as possible, because this could easily be for a man or a lady, whereas if it was orange or yellow, it would probably tend to lean more towards the feminine side. We just wanted it to be generic. All right, we're going to add some small sunflowers now. Just this small little bunch we have here. And these will probably be too short for this project. So again, we're going to use these florist wood picks. And again, they're very easy to use. Just they come with a piece of wire, and you just roll it all the way down and add that extra length. And wood picks are made for this sort of thing, and they actually give you the extra grip. So you don't really need to glue them once they're in the wood picks, because that is the purpose of the wood picks, is to grip that foam and hold it. But a little bit of glue is never going to hurt, so we always glue everything. All right, now we're going to move on to some filler. We're going to use this lime green spring grass to add that other pop of color. I'm just going to push these up. There we go. And take our bolt cutters, and you can cut that entire bunch all in one stick. Just a little bit more. You want it to look like it's coming out all over your piece, not just in little areas. So that's why I'm adding that second bunch. I'll turn it now so you can see what it looks like on my side. There you go. Perfect. And remember, as I said, this one is going to be a little bit larger than your average headstone saddle. We do get those requests quite often for an extra large one, so I decided to do an extra large one today, and that green grass is just giving that extra texture and that extra height that we need. These are called alliums. Allium is from the onion family, and it's one of the first bulbs to bloom in the spring, even before tulip and allium bloom. I'm just going to add those. A little too long. When you add something different other than a silk flower, it really adds that different texture and it really pops nicely. A little bit more orange. These are mini ranunculus. I'm saying mini because I'm hoping that the ones I'm going to grow are going to be much bigger. Yes, so that's kind of right at that level where a wood pick would make it safer. So we're going to attach another wood pick. We want it to be in that foam deep enough that nothing's going to fall apart. Again, keep turning your piece as you're working, because whatever goes in the front goes in the back. Whatever goes on the left goes on the right when you're doing symmetrical work like this. So the one bad part about using hot glue is you get all of these little strings, little cobwebs over everything. So there is a few ways to get rid of them. You could use a heat gun and just gently go over the top. It kind of just sucks them in and they disappear, or a hair dryer works as well. But we just pick them off by hand here because we don't want to damage anything. You got to be very careful when you're using silks and a heat gun that you don't damage anything. So we just take the extra time and pick them all off here. So we're almost done here, guys. We just got a few more things to fill in. A little bit of filler. What's that hole right there? I love these little ranunculus, they're so pretty. All right, you guys, we are all done. Look at that, so pretty. So it's an extra large gravestone saddle using sunflowers in a bright, fiery summer theme. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel to follow all the shenanigans we get up to here at Peyton's Flowers. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.